When I was 16, I wrote an email to myself that would be delivered in 10 years. At 16, you think you know who you are. You are brash, you are full of energy, and perhaps a little ridiculous in the way that causes adults to shake their heads and say, they'll learn. At 16, I had already been dancing for many years. I'd broken a closet's worth of pointe shoes and carried the mental marks of growing up in competitive performance. Ballet was not just something I liked to do, it was written deep in my bones. Yet, when that email reached me 10 years later, I could not recall the last time I had danced. Surely, when you part with something so important, you remember it. It is a great breaking, a cleaving in which you decide that something is not for you anymore and you part ways, either amicably or maybe even in tears and rage. But perhaps not. Perhaps sometimes it slips through your fingers so slowly that eventually you forget it even existed. You walk out of a studio one day, and unbeknownst to you, you will not return. I wish I could warn my younger self that within 2 years, I would no longer be dancing. I would warn myself to hold on to the memories of long rehearsal nights and the soreness and friendships and even the corrections that burned before they took hold. But back to that email. I was dating someone and thought it was serious in the way that high school sophomores always do. I pondered if we'd still be together when I read the email in the future. At the very end of the page, there was a final line before the signature. I hope you're having fun. The email from what felt like a stranger said. At 26, you think you know who you are. At this point, I have to imagine it's a hubris that plagues every age, although I do like to think that if I make it to 100, perhaps then I shall truly know who I am, with little doubt that the future will change me too much. A delayed send email is a funny thing. It is a menial type of time travel that has a strange way of getting your attentions. What fun activities did I expect myself to be doing at 26? Or maybe that's just how I signed off everything back then. It's not like I had a lot of experience writing emails at that point in life. What was the use of sincerely or thanks when you could finish with a vaguely ominous, hope you're having fun? Regardless, for an instant, I remembered dance and the foggy, distant memory of what it felt like. At 26, I was an entirely different person. My body and mind were different, one slightly softer and the other a bit sharper. That I could ever dance like I used to was not a given, but an insurmountable cliff. I had not called myself a dancer in a very long time, enough that even uttering the word made me feel like a fraud, whether that feeling was right or wrong. Still, the memory of moving was now in my mind like a weed. Perhaps I would hate it now, I thought, as I tried to dismiss the thought. After all, I had apparently quit for some reason. But finally, I conceded. One class. I could give one class a shot. I will be 27 in a few days. One class has turned into many. The strange thing about falling back in love with something is that when you begin to tumble, the time when you were out of love starts to fade. It all blurs together so thoroughly that starts and stops no longer mean anything. The knowledge of dance was still there, nestled safely away in a cupboard that simply needed someone to turn the key. I have grown out of my childhood fear of corrections and now look forward to them because they are a means of moving forward. The technique and strength of dance take time. They are hard. Dance is hard. I'm still a poor turner and favor my left side. It's easy to remember what I once had and took for granted, but in another, better way, I think. I'm a better dancer than I used to be. I'm not dancing out of obligation or competition or because it's the only thing I know. This time around, I am truly dancing because it is in my bones. So, to my 16-year-old self, I hope you're doing well. You just got your license and drove to a coffee shop for the first time. And believe me, I'm not even going to spoil the surprise on where all of that will go. You're also about to have your heart broken this year, but don't worry, that boy you had a crush on in 8th grade and you now have 2 cats and live in a house with a maple tree. And yes, I thought I'd let you know that I am indeed having quite a bit of fun. Sincerely, Morgan.